Hey, what's up, guys? Going to talk to you about what I think is the elephant in the room right now, and that is Arcade1up releasing different versions of their product just a couple months after they initially released. You can see it with NBA Jam, where there is now a Costco version. I'll put a link above if you want to watch my video coverage of it. There are other people that have covered it too. Basically, there's an NBA Jam special edition for Costco. It has some different features than the other versions of the cabinet. It's $3.99, so it's priced better than one of the other versions of the cabinet. And moreover, probably the biggest issue, no one knew about this. They just showed up in Costco. So if you bought NBA Jam 2 months ago, you had no idea you were ever going to have this choice. Whether or not you want this cabinet is one thing, but probably would have been nice if you knew, okay, here are the different levels I can buy into. And I'm going to buy this one. That's an issue. It's not the first time it's happened either. I think there's a lot of salt right now because Arcade1up is bigger than ever. They're probably selling more cabinets than ever. And so the stakes are a little bit higher. You got more customers that you can win with or lose with. And I think some customers were lost with here. So it's happened before. It happened with Mortal Kombat 2. There was a Costco version that had, I believe, a light up marquee, had a customizer. It looked really good. I actually was even considering, it might have been Sam's Club. It was one of the two, but I was considering getting it. Ended up not pulling the trigger because it was still a mono cabinet. It still had those wave 1 or even wave 2 issues. So I was going to wait. Wave 3 was a lot better. Those were starting to trickle out by then. Had that Marvel cabinet. That Marvel cabinet was dope. So I said, I don't need the wave 1 stuff anymore. I'm going to wait. However, a lot of people bought that cabinet and really liked it. I bet anyone who bought Mortal Kombat 2 before would have liked to have known that 1.5 months later or 3 months, or it doesn't matter, way less than a year, there'd be a new version come out. It also happened with the Pac-Man original cocktail cabinet. So the original cocktail cabinet was $500, came with no stools. I think it came with 12 games, but whatever number of games it came with, there was a Costco bundle or Sam's Club. It doesn't really matter. I think it was Costco, but one of these big box stores did a bundle with fewer games, but included 2 stools, and those stools are expensive. If you want the real deal, they're $80 each, and it was still $500. And I bet a lot of people that bought that Pac-Man cocktail would have liked to have known that a few months later I could get this version for the same price and get a lot more stuff with it, or just save money on the stools overall. It wasn't clearly the best version because it didn't have all the games, but then that's the other part of the issue here. With Arcade1up establishing different product variants, they're really confusing people. There's not they've talked before about a good, better, best approach or whatever it is. That's not what they're doing. They're playing 3 card Monty and shuffling things up. So there's not a clear best version of NBA Jam. It depends. Do you like the topper? Do you like the light up deck? Do you like getting a stool with it? Do you like the light up rear of the cabinet? Do you like the light up buttons? Do you like the weird basketball toppers, which I still think are kind of cool? They're kind of getting roasted for that online, but whatever. Um, what I just described are 3 different cabinets. You can't buy one cabinet with all those things. So just sort of throw these different things out there, probably based on retailer interest. I'm sure the retailers have something to say about it. Maybe the buyer at Costco thought the light up rear of the cabinet was super cool and big fan of light up buttons. Look, I don't know how these decisions get made, just speculating. But my point is, the market is a little confused now. We're not really sure which version is going to be the best one to buy, and we're definitely not going to be sure which one's the best one to buy going forward. Again, if you look at the comments on the Facebook groups, on the Reddit groups, right here on this channel, and my comments, you look anywhere, you're going to see salt about this. And then people are wondering, when will this stop? But with the next cabinet that I want to buy, do I need to wait 3 months? Is that the golden rule? When an Arcade1up drops, wait 3 months, and then you know definitively what your choices are. And then you can pick. And even then it might be confusing because there's 3 different versions and there's no clear good, better, best. But at least you know what those 3 versions are and you can pick one of them. That's kind of my thought. I'm wondering on Buck Hunter. I mean, I really want Buck Hunter. I really want Pinball. Those are the 2 products I really want from Arcade1up. There are a couple others. But if I buy Buck Hunter, I don't know that a month on release day, I won't know that a month later Costco won't have some super dope version of it with like actual rifles for like no, I'm kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, just somehow are they going to have an improved version? Now, the improvements are often a gimmick. but not always. Including 2 free stools with a cocktail cabinet is not a gimmick. That's a good value. So I don't know what they're going to do with the light gun cabinet. Maybe nothing either. I don't have any inside info on this. But if the name of the game is going to be releasing different variants and doing it in a way that's not transparent to consumers, then that's frustrating. I think they ought to be out in front of this, talking to people. Hey guys, we're doing Big Buck Hunter. Here's our plan. We're going to have a few different versions. Here's what it's going to look like. Here's where you can probably get it. And we understand when these things aren't always finalized. Retailers might not make up their mind right away, although they're probably getting close. Pinball, same thing. I mean, you can really trick out a virtual pinball cabinet, or virtual pinball table. So if I buy, or you buy for $500, or I think they're going to be $499, but I don't know, 500, 550. Don't you want to know that Costco isn't going to have like the ultra version for $10 less a month later? I mean, I bet you do. And so there's all this heat online on Arcade1up right now. And again, like I said earlier, they've done this before. I think this is a result of them having a product a lot of people want and them selling to more people than ever. When they did it before, people just didn't seem to care as much. There weren't as many people buying them. Mortal Kombat 2 is probably not as popular as NBA Jam. And I don't know if that Zohar gentleman who's really into Mortal Kombat watches my videos or not. But if you're listening to this, no offense, man. I like Mortal Kombat also. But NBA Jam's a big mass market product, and people just don't want to be confused and mixed up about which one they're getting. That's my view. And I specifically didn't rag on Arcade1up when I did that video on NBA Jam because, it doesn't that was my personal view of the cabinet. To me, that variant from Costco is not that big of a deal. The only thing I really liked there was the topper. And I already bought a topper from Zabo's Arcade. I don't really like the light up buttons or light up rear of the cabinet or whatever, all that stuff. So I just didn't mind that much. But you better believe if they would have released a version that had stuff I happen to want, it would have bothered me a lot. So there's sort of the specifics of, does that product, do I regret my purchase at Best Buy? Well, no, in this case I don't. But then there's the broader idea of, we really ought to know what we're buying and what our choices are going to be. So that's my view. I do think... I think they need to step their game up with messaging, and I think they need to give us clearer ideas of variants. People now are starting to wonder, are we going to get more NBA Jam game, or specifically Hang Time game variants in a future cabinet? And I don't know, maybe. Look at Pac-Man. We have the Miss Pac-Man cabinet was announced, but right off the bat, the CEO of Arcade1up was talking about a version with Dig Dug, and people were confused by that. It was just a throwaway statement, but then we think, well, wait a minute, are we getting another version? Well, it turns out we're getting a cocktail version, but people do wonder, are we going to get another different stand-up version? And we want to design our game rooms with the cabinets we want. So if you buy a cabinet, because that's all that was available, like let's say you really like the Ms. Pac-Man stand-up aesthetic. It's a good-looking cabinet. But you really want a cabinet with Dig Dug, so you buy the cocktail cabinet. And then a month later, they come with a stand-up cabinet that has Dig Dug. I mean, how annoyed are you? You now have to sell that product or whatever. These are big, heavy things we're bringing into our house. It's a very personal decision to put an arcade in your house. And I don't want to exaggerate this, make it sound like a bigger deal than it is, but there's a reason why people get heated about retro gaming. Part of it is what era you grew up in and your personal preferences and all that. But the other part of it is it's a very personal thing to take a big old cabinet, put it together, and give up some of the space in your house to do it. I think all we want from Arcade1up is a little bit more transparency of what they're going to offer us in the immediate future. We understand a year or two out, it's a different deal. But in the immediate future, what will be our choices? Maybe we should skip the Walmart cabinet, wait for Costco. Let me know what you guys think below. I have a feeling I already know what you think because I've read a lot of these comments, but still, I'm curious. Is this a big deal or not? Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. We're growing the channel. Let's keep it going. I'll talk to you guys later.